Hey everyone, welcome to a new video. So, I know I didn't post last week, but that's because I'm not a huge fan of the Ultra League myself. I think that both Ultra League Open as well as Ultra League Premier Class are in a rough spot right now. I did prep a video, but I felt that the video was very just a bunch of meta Pokemon. I ran a Muck Lapras Walrein team, which did pretty good, but overall, it just wasn't that exciting to kind of post up, so I didn't really work on the video that much. That being said, this week's all about the Love Cup again, as well as the Master League. Now, the Love Cup was a cup that we had literally just last season, so for the first couple of days, I was primarily running my old Love Cup team, which was a Cargo in the front, Electro for safe swap, and then a Confusion Shadow Slowbro for the closer. Now, I wasn't about to post another video of the team that I played before, but last night Niantic finally was able to adjust their their code for the game, and they made it possible for us to use a lone Pokemon like Torracat and Incineroar, but they also gave us Lycanroc. So let's introduce us to today's Love Cup team. So Lycanroc had a lot of good buzz because it has counter, probably one of the best moves in the game, but on top of that, it also had Crunch, Stone Edge, and Psychic Fans. My Lycanroc's going to be running Psychic Fans as well as Crunch, and the reason why I chose these two is because I know that counter damage gets a lot of good damage in naturally, but I want to get good coverage against Psychic types and Ghost types. Although in this particular format, you're only really going to see Psychic types in that second slot, which is why I ran Crunch. The second move I chose was going to be Psychic Fans because I felt that Lycanroc's probably better as a Whittle Pokemon, where it just kind of whittles down your opponent. Psychic Fans plays a better spot than an official closer position like Stone Edge. Now in the back, I'm running an Ariados as well as a Slowbro. The reason why I chose these two Pokemon is because they really cover the fighting weakness. I know the worst Pokemon for me to see is going to be a Medicham, and because of that, I want to make sure I'm really prepared for them. My second big weakness will be something like an Alomomola. Because of that Pokemon, you have, of course, the Slowbro in the back to take care of that. But on top of that, you also have an Ariados that's just a good safe swap to set up one of the other two because of Lunge. Anyhow, I hope you enjoy the battles and I hope you enjoy the video. Let's see who we have. So in game 1, I go against a Talonflame, which is actually a very neutral matchup, and the reason is because I don't run Stone Edge. This means that, technically speaking, I don't have a lot of pressure with my charge moves, but my opponent doesn't know I'm not running Stone Edge. So I'm going to throw Psychic Fans here, I get the bait, and I'm going to go straight for a second Psychic Fan. The reason why I do this is because I don't want to block whatever this Talonflame is going to be throwing at me. I'm actually expecting a Brave Bird, and then expecting to dip out. But they actually Flame Charge for some reason. With that Flame Charge, I'm okay with going ahead and letting the second one go through, and then farming it down with my Slowbro. With the second Flame Charge down, I know that they're energy dry, so I know that I can actually completely farm down this Talonflame with no problem. The second Pokemon my opponent brings is going to be a Scrafty, so I immediately switch out and they bring out Medicham. So Medicham versus Ariados is a really good matchup for me, especially since I have two shields, meaning that I can afford to kind of block randomly here. I'm going to be throwing back-to-back lunges as quickly as possible, so that when they throw either a Power Punch or a Psychic, I'm just taking as little damage as possible. I can almost guarantee that was going to be a Power Punch just because of how many shields I have, and because they already have one lunge on them. Throughout this fight, my strategy isn't really going to change. It's all about just doing as much damage as possible with those lunges, and since they didn't block that one, I can go for a simple cross poison to try to take it out. Either way, it's going to throw another attack. It's probably going to be a Psychic or a Power Punch. Either way, I'm going to block it because I don't want to let this Ariados go down. It ends up being a Psychic, so I know for a fact I'm going to get to another crosswise before they can get to their last attack. They bring out their Scrafty back, and I'm just going to throw another lunge at it right away. At this point, I'm not low enough to go down to a foul play, and they can't really afford to Power Punch because I'm going to basically outpace them with lunges. With this second lunge, they're going to be so low that I'm confident that even if they're able to take out my Ariados, my Slowbro can come back and take it out with Confusions. This should be a second foul play, which should take out my Ariados. There goes, and there goes my Ariados. Comes the Slowbro, and they go ahead and surrender. There goes game 1. So let's move on to game 2. In game 2, we're going to see a Slowbro in the lead. Now the assumption is that Slowbro would generally be a bad matchup for Lycanroc, but because of Crunch, it does have a lot of play here. Now I guess I messed up my counter because I sneak in a Confusion, which is gigantic. What this means that I actually have to switch out of my Lycanroc into my Slowbro to take some of that damage. I'm able to sneak in Confusion over here, but it's just not as important because it is a Slowbro. I don't block this because it's going to be either a Water Pulse or Psychic. Either way, don't need to block it. Their next Pokemon is going to be a Lickitung, which is just really bad for me. Lickitung is basically, I think, the number 1 counter for Slowbro inside this format right now. At this point, I'm just trying to get as much neutral damage as possible for my Slowbro. So right now, I'm not in the best position because my Lycanroc isn't exactly the best Pokemon to go against Lickitung because Power does do super effective damage, and on top of that, Lycanroc is so glassy that these licks are going to really add up. Even the Body Slam, even though it's resisted, is going to do a lot of good damage over here on me, unfortunately. So now I'm really strong here. I'm going to throw a Psychic Fangs right away. I don't think they're going to block it, but I'm just doing this to do some more chip damage so they don't get to another Body Slam. The last Pokemon ends up being a Medicham, which is not the best for me. So they throw here, and they CMP tie. I'm going to get this Lunge off. They're going to get off their attack. The thing is that I actually counted 6 moves, but they actually got to 7. So because they got to 7, this is going to be a Psychic. If I counted that correctly, I would have definitely blocked it. Unfortunately, because of that, I'm actually going to lose this game. This here is just going to be a Power Punch. No point in really blocking it. I think the one thing that I could really learn from this game is just, I wish there was a position where I could count the moves better. I need to make sure that I block that Psychic. Once again, if I knew it was literally 7, I would have definitely blocked it. And the reason is because if I had blocked it, I probably could have gotten another Lunge off there. And there goes game 2. In retrospect, I think I should have blocked it either way because even if I did miscount it, I should have treated it as if they only had 1 play and I was going double Psychic against me. Anyhow, let's not move on to game 3. So their first Pokemon is a Dradigan, another really cool Pokemon. This matchup is pretty neutral. Dradigan has Dragon Tail, which does a lot of neutral damage. They're getting stat damage, and on my side with Lycanroc, I've countered probably the best attack in the game once again, and basically I'm in a position where I outpace the Dradigan because it takes 5 counters or 10 turns to get to 1 Psychic Fang, and it takes Dradigan 12 turns or 4 Dragon Tails to get to 1 Night Slash. Because of this, these Psychic Fangs really do add up quickly. The problem is now I'm in a really weak position and they bring out an Electrode. The good news is I'm pretty sure I can get to 8 Psychic Fangs before this gets taken out. I had to throw that mid move just because if I let it go through, I would have been knocked out before I can get my attack out. So now this Electrode has a attack fully charged up. They get 2 more attacks, meaning that they have about 1 Hyper Beam charged up, but they can also double Foul Play or double Discharge here. I really debated whether or not I should block this, but I decided to hold back because I wanted to save my shields for Slowbro. And there goes the Hyper Beam. The only reason why I was willing to let that go was because I was pretty sure there would probably be either a Lomomola or a Talonflame in the back. The reason for this is because they had a Dradigan in their front, so they couldn't have like a Scrafty in the back. Otherwise, it would be too weak to Fairies. So because of this, I was okay letting my Ariados go. I'm now going to go ahead and just farm down this Alomomola. I need 1 more attack before I can get to my Psychic, and just like that, there goes game 3. I think the one take we can get from that is that it's one way to be able to read Elite. At that point, I had seen 2 Pokemon that was relatively weak to Charmers. Because of that, I can guarantee that back there wasn't going to be a Dark type, which made me feel very comfortable with bringing out my Slowbro and letting them finish the game out. Anyhow, let's go to game 4. So in game 4, my opponent leads with a Magcargo. This is literally the best match I could possibly have. The best way to play this is that you would throw 7 counters and throw a Psychic Fangs and then farm it down. They actually brought out a Scrafty here, so I respond with my Ariados, which is of course the best response to it. I don't really need to block anything here. I'm just gonna throw my lunges and call it a day. The biggest mistake I could have here is I can basically have too much health on my Ariados when Scrafty dies. If I do that, I'll basically have to let the Mercargo farm me down, meaning it'll be loaded on energy when it kills my Ariados. Right now I'm at yellow, which isn't that great, but it's okay. Ariados can come out against the Mercargo. I'm going to go ahead and throw this cross poison for just some really basic chip damage. This attack isn't really going to hurt, but it doesn't matter. It's just some chip damage. My Lycanroc is going to come back out now, and I'm going to throw immediately. The reason why I do this is because I know they want to throw too, and I'm hoping to get a shield over here, which it does. They're going to throw right away. I have to block this. If it's an overheat or a stonage, it will probably take out my Lycanroc. After this overheat, I'm expecting this switch, which they do into a Medicham. So I'm going to go ahead and throw a Psychic Fangs before I dip out of here. After this goes through, the Slowbro that I have should be able to take out the Medicham no problem. At this point, I don't really need to block anything here. This should be a Psychic, but I'm going to be able to farm it down with just Confusions at this point. Actually, it's the Power Punch, so that's okay as well. I'm still going to do my best to farm it down. Not going to really worry about anything over here. I think Psychic would hurt a lot here, but still not something I'm really worried about. Okay, so that actually hurt a lot. I'm going to try to farm it down here, but I think, yeah, we're going to double KO, which isn't the best. That being said, I can still go ahead and counter down this Mercargo, no problem. I think they're going to throw like an overheat or a Rock Tomb here. That doesn't matter. I'm going to go ahead and shield it, and then I'm going to go ahead and finish off with that last counter. And there goes game 4. We're going to our final game of the day. We're going against another legend from the last season. There's going to be an Ariados in the lead versus my Lycanroc. So this match is actually both relatively neutral because he's fully resisting my counters, but on the other hand, I'll be resisting their poison stings, their cross poisons, and their lunges. In this matchup, I'm going to basically be throwing those poison fangs as much as possible and as quickly as possible. They switched into a Rock Throw Mercargo, which is okay for me. I know for a fact that I can go ahead and just force shields or just really win this match against the Mercargo. That being said, I also know that my Shadow Slowbro is going to do plenty of damage against the Ariados, so I don't really have to worry about this matchup that much. Unfortunately, I couldn't finish them off before they throw a move. I know that this will take out my Lycanroc, so I go ahead and block it. It wasn't overheat, but it killed me for sure. I think at this point they're probably going to bring the Ariados back. Let's see. Oh no, so they bring Scrafty over here. So to counter Scrafty, I go ahead and bring out my Ariados and go straight for the Lunge. I really just throw this because I don't want to take a full blast foul play from them, and I want them to switch over here. Scrafty gets debuff, which is really good for me, but they switch into Ariados. This is going to be a Lunge as well. They're basically going to be throwing, you know, charges against each other, but they don't do a lot of damage. To make matters worse, we're both probably going to be throwing lunges back and forth here, meaning that the damage that we'll be doing after we throw the charges are even going to be lower. At this point, I was just being really conservative with my charge moves, as well as my shields. And the reason is because I basically want to leave this Ariados with just enough energy to take out the Scrafty right afterward. I'm going to go ahead and let this Lunge go because it won't take me out, and after this I should be able to switch out of this matchup. I'm going to try to snipe it down with my Slowbro right now, but I actually went for a CMP tie. I don't want to take it out, so I'm going to go ahead and just undercharge that cross poison. I'm going to try some poison stings, but they actually bring back in Scrafty, which isn't really great for me because they are able to farm me down before I can throw a move. Finally, I bring out Slowbro, and I'm going to do the best I can to really try to farm down this Scrafty. It actually ends up being a foul play, which is going to hurt a lot, but that's okay. At least they didn't bait me out there, which is going to be the worst case scenario. I'm going to throw Psychic now, which they have to block or it will take out the Scrafty. At this point, we're still just going to do what we can to farm this a little more. At this health, I can actually counter down the Scrafty before it can take me out. I was able to sneak a counter, and I'm actually going to block this pup, which actually ends up being an Acid Spray. Either way, that's alright. It'll go counter down, and then I'm going to have Psychic Fangs just enough to take out the Ariados at the end over here. And there goes game 5. The Love Cup was pretty fun a couple weeks ago. Unfortunately, there hasn't been a lot of changes since then. And I'm really glad they were able to bring in both Lycanroc and Senator, and I think it was Tora Cat, you know. It does make the games a little more spicy. Overall, I think Lycanroc is a really cool Pokemon. It has similar stats to like Lucario, and it plays very similarly as well. It has a bait move, which is Psychic Fangs versus Power Punch. Psychic Fangs, of course, does a little more damage, and then it has Crunch for really good, I guess, coverage. So when you go against something like a Ghost type or a Psychic type, you have a really good move for them. The biggest difference is that the main weakness to something like a Lucario would be, of course, a Fire type, whereas a Lycanroc, the biggest weakness for them is going to be something like a Water type. Anyhow, I hope you all enjoyed the battles, and if you did, give me a thumbs up. I'll try to make more content, stuff like this. I try to get newer Pokemon if I can into the videos, or sometimes just more spicy picks. If there's Pokemon you really want to see, let me know. I'll see what I can do to make it happen, okay? Other than that, good luck in the Battle League, y'all.